We are back. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome back to another Open Source Friday. In case you missed it, about 2 hours ago, we had the folks from Handy Computer. So this is such a fun day for me because I'm doing like basically a lot of my favorite projects. So I have my favorite speech-to-text transcription now. And right now I have my favorite SDK coming up. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Tell me on the chat where you're joining from, please. I want to know. Nice to see you. I think some of you were here earlier, and I hope that you're here a bit later. We have a real terminal coming up next, but it's going to be a fun one. In case you missed it and you didn't watch this epic little real video that you just saw, Copilot now has an SDK, and it is an amazing way for you to integrate the intelligence of Copilot CLI everywhere you want. So welcome, 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 welcome from Buffalo, New York. Welcome from Orlando. Hey, Raj, I'm excited too. Thanks for being here. Have you used the Copilot SDK? I want you to tell me if you used it, but do me one better. If you have already used it, if you integrate it into your app, into whatever it is that you're building, drop us a ripple. Let's take a look. Let's go by and start it for you, yeah? And when we're talking about starts, I am going to start by dropping the SDK repo here because this is one thing that we do very well at Open Source Friday. Go by the repo, leave it a star. Let's get it trending. Hello, Ralph. Hello. Hola, Enrique. Surely Deb with the questions. Thank you, man. We're going to touch on that. I'm going to bring you a person that can answer all of these questions with my favorite new title that I saw today. Distinguished Product Manager, Patrick. Welcome to Open Source Friday.
Fantastic to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm highly caffeinated, as you can tell.
Yes, I'm on my way as well. I've already had one. I might need another coming up here soon as well.
I love it. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. And welcome to everyone who's joining. I know you're on the West Coast as well. There's some folks from Oakland that are joining. And then we got some folks from Pakistan. We got some folks from everywhere, from India, from Brazil. Holy moly. Okay, well, we got a lot to cover today, so we'll get started. How about we get started with the obvious? What's the difference between these two things? Can you tell us a little bit about that? And thank you, Surly, for the question.
Absolutely. I think there are some really fundamental differences. From the CLI, it's very interactive. It's very hands-on. It does have a headless mode built into it, which is the DAS-P switch on it, so you can run it without entering interactive mode. But it's while you can technically embed it in other applications, I think the SDK allows you to do that in a much more natural way. So we provide you 4 different programming languages that we support. And we hope to allow you to embed it in platforms, hobbyist apps, internal apps, apps for your customers as well. So we look at the use cases as a bit more diverse, and we also look at it as something that will be embedded in non-coding scenarios as well. Oh, I lost your audio, Andre.
I get to see the ways that we've been integrated into the way that we work, like outside of even applications, but just for like our own kind of like business intelligence and our own personal, almost like personal assistant-y type things.
Yep.
So it's been really fun to see what people are experimenting with. Let me take a quick look at the chat and make sure that I didn't miss any of the other questions. Friends, I hope to see the stars growing up, please. Let's keep it going. So Patrick, can you tell me, first of all, what are the languages that are supported right now? Why those languages to begin with?
Yeah, absolutely. So we support Python, TypeScript, Go, and .NET currently. We also have community contributed SDKs and things like C++, Rust, Clojure, etc. We really targeted 4 of the biggest languages, and then we're evaluating new ones to add as well. So we're always talking about better native supports in other languages based on what developers want to use. And one of the advantages was we're exploring opportunities to focus on a few and then make it easy to support others using agentic tooling as well. So a lot of progress. We expect to have a lot of broad support, but we see a lot of activity in the Python, TypeScript, .NET, and Go space primarily today. Yeah.
Very cool. And friends, this is open source, right? So go take a look. And then if you see an opportunity to contribute there, like go make it happen. Why not? Okay, let's see. I think I want a show and tell. So show me all the things. Can you share your screen, and then certainly I'll get back to you about the expense because
Yeah.
this was actually one of my questions, because I was building it into an app that I was working on. I'm like, who's going to pay for this?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's take a look at the
Cool.
screen share. Thank you.
All right, let me bring it up.
Thank you, thank you. And welcome, Mr. Ali. We're going to learn about the Copilot SDK today, open source way for you to bring Copilot into your applications, into your life. Here we are.
Yeah. So like I was mentioning, we do have multiple SDKs, which is wonderful. You can add them really easily to your project, which is fantastic. But your question really hits on the core of it, which is what are they good for? I do have a few use cases that really kind of show exactly how you can customize it and also bring it into your workflow as well. One of the most popular ones that I do show is actually the PowerPoint one. We started out this endeavor with a goal to really show people that you can use our coding agent in a bunch of other scenarios, give them tools, customizations, etc., and have a lot of fun in the process. And so as part of my day-to-day, I work on the CLI and SDK. I have this really big deck that we're working on. We are also moving really fast, so content gets out of sync pretty easily. And we're always finding new ways to kind of build pipelines and tooling so that we can make sure that anything that is out of sync, we get it back in sync very quickly. And so in this deck, as an example, I do have a section for the CLI, but I don't have a detailed breakdown of like the API and the SDK. And so normally what I like to do is be fairly adventurous with one of these Office add-in tools that we had built, and we added Excel and Word support as well. But I think it really demonstrates just how crazy you can kind of go with these things. And so as part of this, I wanted to go ahead and research the GitHub Copilot SDK online, because most of the information is in the repo, and then add a section with API details, similar to the last section in the deck. You can also ask it to, look at the last 5 sides and style it in a consistent way. And you'll be able to see it actually start doing a few things. So one, you get the standard kind of chat agentic loop. You'll also see it start firing off tools, very much like our coding agent.
Yeah.
It'll go out, it'll do research on the web.
Patrick, can I get you to zoom in a bit so that folks can see?
Yes.
Please. Thank you.
Anytime. Yes.
I want people to see that you click on the Copilot icon, not the... Let's see, can you zoom in the chat, I wonder? Maybe not.
No, I don't know if I've ever tried to zoom in the chat, to be honest, and I don't know if I can.
I don't think we can. No.
I'm so sorry on that one. I should have upped the font size.
That's quite all right. You can take it, just trust us.
Yes.
There's a conversation happening on the
trust
chat.
is the conversation. More than just the conversation, it's actually taking screenshots of the last 5 slides so it can understand what they visually look like. It's doing the research on the web as well to make sure it has a comprehensive view of what I want it to do. And then it's going to actually start streaming in the slides live. So when you look at here's the first one coming in. It should hopefully do a whole bunch of them. If it doesn't, the nice thing is you can ask it to do a bit more and start laying out the content a different way as well. But it really shows the diversity of the tools that you can bring into new applications that are really kind of idiomatic to those applications itself. So in PowerPoint, we've given it a whole slew of PowerPoint tools. While that runs, I can actually show you inside of our Office repo. Let me actually pull it open real quick over here. Make sure I get the right one.
Perfect. And I'm going to ask you to zoom in as well. Instead of having to manually, like, you go back and change, like, read the change logs. I mean, obviously, you know what's shipping, but to update those slides manually every week. I mean, sometimes you're posting updates like 2-3 times a week. So that is a lot.
Multiple times a day, which is the hard part in how fast the team moves. The engineering manager of the CLI loves to give a presentation about how our very tiny team over the CLI ships a few hundred PRs a week. That's really tough to keep documentation and all the other processes in sync. And so we're constantly exploring creative ways to manage that. Inside of this open source repo, which is just GitHub Copilot Office underneath my Pat Nico GitHub username, you can actually see all the different tools that we've provided the various Office products in this open source solution to just show you how easily it is to work with the SDK. And Most of this was vibe coded for the most part because our SDK has really simple contracts. Our CLI does so much of the work as a really great primitive. And then you can just be really thoughtful about what other tools and what other scenarios I would like to use. So you'll notice in Word, there's things to get things like what text is selected, which allows you to do things like update a certain section of a document the way that you want. PowerPoint, which I was just showing you, can pull full overviews and get slide images, notes. It can update different bits of content as well, which is super nice to see. And I'll flip back and it's probably finished by now. There's also the Excel side, right? So applying formatting, setting formulas, getting ranges, etc. It's a really nice way to show just this SDK, which is a coding agent, give it different tools and a powerful harness, and it can integrate just all over a whole lot of applications really deeply. And so if I flip back here, you'll notice that it already went ahead and laid these out. The nice thing is, LLMs will hallucinate and do other things as well, but we can add additional verification steps on top to say, hey, the content that you generated, let's go cross-reference it with all the stuff in the open source repo again and make sure we're getting to a point where everything's accurate, up to date, etc. But it's a really nice demo that I like to show just in terms of day-to-day tasks that I have to do as a product manager, and one way that all of these tools and the SDK in particular make it a bit easier to stay on top of things.
Well, this is amazing. So you did the hard work for us already. You have this repo with the list of tools. So how do you use that in practice though? Not the building part, the actually using part. Like I want to do my slides like this.
Yeah. If you, I mean, honestly, the project is super easy to get going. You essentially can just clone the repo, and I have some instructions in it to get you started real quickly. You don't really have to do anything else. You can just run it directly, or there is like a little tray application built into it. So it will show a little like Copilot icon up here running the service. But really, it's just clone it, do npm install, make sure you register it. Inside of Office, there's a little add-in manifest that has to get loaded that tells Office which plugins are loaded for which applications. And then you pretty much run it. You can just do a npm run dev, npm run start here. And then there's just a couple steps to add it in Office. It actually just shows up. You see this little add-in menu here. You'll notice GitHub Copilot's there, and you will open up the chat and you're good to go. We did put a few little conveniences in, like you can look at chat history and whatnot as well. But it just shows how easy it is to embed a full chat experience with custom tools into an application, so you can enhance what you can do in that application really easily.
I mean, this is amazing. Honestly, I can see a lot of applications for businesses that have to do like, instead of buying 50 different subscriptions to 50 different things, like you templatize it and then you plug it into the SDK, and then boom, everyone is equipped to do beautiful presentations all the time. The Excel bit is huge because I'm terrible at Excel formulas, and being able to just plug the intelligence of Copilot right there is amazing.
Yeah, and with Excel, the fun part is just like what you can do with it. I mean, like one thing I was doing last year is I was like refinancing my house, and so I want to refinance my house, build me a model that allows me to figure out if it is going to be a good deal and what the payback period is. Now I haven't done it in this version, so who knows what's going to happen here, but I guarantee it will do something close to productive, and then you can iterate on top of it. But I even find the exploration really fun. One of the things about the AI tools and like the people just kind of rethinking their natural habits is I like to default to try and see if it provides a good foundation. If it doesn't, I can learn where it's failing. But I'm really a big fan of just go out there and see how powerful these models are, discover their capabilities, and using this and different tools allows me to kind of further that beyond the coding vertical itself, if that makes sense.
I love this. Listen, a lot of times we live in a bubble and we get to see the utility for like, oh yeah, this is cool for my app. This is cool for whatever my toolkit is. But this is like, it's for all people, for the normies. Everyone can use it. I love that.
It's kind of like a return to a little bit of the hobbyist mentality, right? Where people can own their tools, they can personalize them. I think that, when you look online and you see all these trends of people showing off these things that they're building, they look really similar. I find a lot of satisfaction in that because it kind of reminds me of the late 90s, mid 90s, when I started in software engineering, to the early 2000s, where chaos kind of reigned supreme. And you saw all these people trying to express themselves in different ways. And you realize we all like similar things, but we all like them with like a certain spin on it. And so I look at the SDK and the CLI and all of these AI agentic toolings as really bringing that back en masse, which is just super cool to see.
Okay, beautiful. I have to ask the question, and you tell me. We might need to dig into this later, Surly, if we don't have all the answers here. But as far as like the token usage of it, like I know that obviously it's using your Copilot account, so it's gonna be using your tokens. But then I don't know how it plugs into M365, and I know there is another side to it, like how it works with WorkIQ and other more Microsoft 365 specific tools, but I don't know if you can speak of that. Like, can you use somebody else's enterprise account? I think it was Surly's question.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few things. One, we are looking to add better enterprise identity support and support a few different authentication models as well. The CLI today primarily sits over GitHub accounts, makes it super flexible and easy to get started if you have a Copilot subscription. The SDK is designed to be stuck in a whole wide variety of contexts, which means we need to have much more robust authentication options than we do today. So we support things like bring your own key, which is a little bit more service-like, and it's still not fully enterprise like we would want it to be. We support using your GitHub Copilot account as well. Technically, you can use a GitHub OAuth app, sign in, get a token, and use it with the SDK too. But we want to make it more seamless for a whole lot of situations that users are more comfortable with. So you asked about WorkIQ. WorkIQ is an MCP server, as an example. You can configure it to be used with the SDK. It's easy to use with the CLI too. The WorkIQ plugin is actually one of the interesting MCPs I've been using recently because it has so much access to information about you on M365 that you can ask it all kinds of random questions and get very interesting insights. And so I just shared with the team last night, I had to do a demo. It had to be recorded. WorkIQ can be very personal. So you're always looking for like ways to demonstrate it. And one of just the fun use cases I found with it was to go through the public channels, round up all the positive feedback about what the team is doing, and then like build me a nice little hype table for the team. And it's just cool to see it explore Microsoft Teams, pick up all of that feedback, sort it, categorize it, and then like really like drop this final note on it that was like, your team's doing great, they're shipping quick, make sure you hype them up, etc. And it's just, they're really fun tools to play with, even for not super professional scenarios, if that makes sense.
Oh, I love that example too, honestly. And like, listen, if you're watching this and you're like a people manager, like you're an engineering manager, and you're thinking like a lot of times you kind of don't have time to do things like that, this what a great way to like be able to do something where it highlights the work that you're doing, and it's not a hard lift for you. You don't have to go dig for all this.
Absolutely. And that's the trend that I hope continues, is like we kind of went on this like AI trend where automation, productivity, et cetera. And I usually try to explore it for other opportunities for people to have fun, work easier, focus more on the creative time, the hard problems. And hopefully we can automate a lot of the day-to-day that kind of takes us away from the things that really move things forward.
I love this. Okay, this is amazing. All right, what else can we do with this SDK?
So the usual use case that I see, which is expanding more and more, and something that I'm growing particularly interested in and is also aligning with where we're headed in the future, is this concept of like a personal assistant. And so there's been many flavors of this. I think companies have tried to deliver this many times over again. But the reality is, I actually feel like users are going to own a lot of their personal assistant in the future. And I see it in the chat. People are talking about OpenClaw.
What is that?
You would never know, honestly. I mean, the OpenClaw stuff was super fun to me because, again, it kind of harkens back to a little bit of the wild times where people are finding ways to tie things up and enjoy their workflow. And the SDK is actually something that's, even within my own family, I'm trying to get them on it, because my dad is electrical engineer. He's retired. He has his home systems and automation and networking he's tied together. And so one of the victories that I think about with the Copilot SDK is getting even those people hacking away at home to find ways to automate everything and find it more manageable, right? Because the overhead can be really high in these custom setups that you want to explore. And so there is another little open source project underneath my account that I've started to play with that I call Copilot Tasks. And let me actually just share my screen again, and I can bring it up.
Thank you. And let's see if we can get a little better resolution. And hey, Surly, you're hired. Like, Surly's been giving me all kinds of tips here about zooming into portions of your screen. I'm gonna save that, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
You can control the zoom on my screen. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and fire it open real fast. Share screen, entire screen.
And friends, I share on the chat a link to, we actually hosted the Open Club project on Open Source Friday a couple of weeks ago. So go give it a watch, and you can hear from the creator itself. I love this future where we control our own automations and we kind of make, like you said, like for my dad, this is what he needs. So he gets to do it the way he likes it. I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, and on that note, like one of the reasons why I even shared the Office plugins is because people saw a video of it. And then I started getting messages on X, which is like, hey, I'm really just trying to help out my parents with something. I'm really trying to help out a sibling with something. And I think those stories are like the most meaningful. There's always the business side where we're trying to drive forward and make sure we're doing amazing things. But I think like those very personal stories are something that I've always really enjoyed throughout my career. And I think there's just going to be a lot more of that in the future as well. And so I have this like little app, which I call Copilot Tasks. Let me see if I can actually zoom this thing. I think it's fixed though. Andrea, maybe you can zoom it.
Let me see. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
And in here, there's a few things that I was really doing. One is there's a lot of CLIs I run on my machine. I use this tool that we built internally to kind of start experimenting with different ways to flow. And even in this tool, you'll notice I have like 4 different tabs. There's different agents running on different ones. This is like a light day. By the end of today, I'll probably have 9 or 10 tabs, and I'll have 15 to 20 CLI sessions because they're just running and I'm chipping away at different things in parallel. But the nice thing about the Copilot tasks is it gives me like a global perspective of everything that's running on my machine. And the reason why I highlight this is we are working on stuff to make it easy for you to bridge sessions. So for example, if you're running a CLI over there, you can actually just jump into the session from your computer, whether it's on a local network or it's a remote machine. And so there's always this question of like, where are all my agents running? What are they doing? And how do I get access to them? And I would say that's really kind of the core of part of the next few steps for where we're taking the SDK. But right now there's simple ways to kind of do that jump, which I find is super nice in Copilot tasks. But the other thing that is really interesting is a lot of the things that come in, I want to quickly delegate. And it's not really because I want to delegate it. It's because there's probably some early work I can do before I jump into it. And so I usually look at it as like, hey, I got a task. Let me go do some research. While that research is happening, I'll continue doing whatever I'm doing. And so I'm always looking for quick ways to like spawn an agent and then just get back to what I'm doing. And so this uses the SDK to open up a new session and allow me to, talk to it, make requests, etc. And so it's just the simplest form of what people are really using the SDK for is how do I get an agent in a place where I can talk to it and then have that agent hooked into other things that I want to use it with. And so if you go on like X as an example, my favorite ones are when people use like WhatsApp. They're using the SDK to hook into a WhatsApp chat interface. Then they're plugging a bunch of integrations into it. And now you have some of the open cloud concept as well as a way to personalize all your integrations, your tools, all the things you want to do with an agent. And because you're giving them so much access, I think it's nice that the user controls as much of that as possible today, and we'll continue to make that as easy as possible in the future. But just having these quick ability to access these chats, set some context, send it off is really kind of where we're targeting next right now as a team as well. There's also a few other things that I like to do that are a little weird. In the current world, we have so many different kinds of ways to integrate with an agent, right? You have skills, you have MCP servers, we recently just added plugin supports. I'm starting to experiment with the idea that, you can not only bridge agents, but what does it mean for like an agent to reach back out to you on tools that you might have an SDK integrated with? Or what does it mean to interface with an agent some way other than typing on a command line?
What do you mean reach out to you? Like reply to you? Like
I can actually show you. Yeah. So if I'm in my Copilot task project, and I run in YOLO. I don't recommend generally people start that way, but as you build comfort, you'll figure out how much you trust the agent, which is part of the fun process. And so you'll notice it loaded one MCP tool. There's actually versions of this where it's integrated deeper into the product, but this is a really easy way to get started, and it's inside this open source repo if you wanna try it out yourself. But I can just say, call me, and it will use the voice tool to reach out to me through that Copilot tasks application that you saw. And the nice thing is, it will talk to you, which is interesting.
Hi, it's Copilot.
Hey, Copilot, how's it going?
I hear you.
Oh, my mic. Oh, it's because my mic is used on the stream.
Wait, no, this
No,
is
it's gonna
crazy.
ruin it. Hello. So you can type to it here instead, and it should talk back to you. But I think the mic actually on this stream is interfering with it.
Yeah.
But it is one wonderful way where it will pass the context back, and you should see it continue. You know, it will pick up the call. And the nice thing is I actually have it do it as part of the ask tool. So we recently added in an ask tool in the CLI. So when the agent is running, it hits a point and it's like, I have low confidence, let me ask the user. One of the avenues it'll do is like call you in parallel while asking you in the CLI. And then if you answer on the call, it will continue with that information instead. So it's really cool. And I'll actually add a video to the open source repo where you can see it happening. There's also a post on my X account, which shows me actually doing the end-to-end as well when it needs help. Just very cool stuff. And in Azure Foundry, we have voice solutions, which I'm exploring right now. This one uses 11 labs. And so I just love the ability to like plug in quick things, build new workflows, and you're like stacking agents to do jobs, which is really cool.
That is unbelievable. I love that. And so it can talk to you back. I'm gonna find I found your post from January 26th. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds about right. Yeah, it was one weekend I was hacking away and I was like, I think I can get the agent to talk to me. And it was just fun that weekend. So I shared it online.
That is amazing. This is so cool. Okay, maybe we can, for the purposes of the chat, if you can share, let's share that, because I want you to see it, because I know right now we had the issue with the speaker, but let's get you to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you go to your X and click on it and share your screen, we should be able to hear it.
Oh,
you want to try that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me go to it right now. All right.
Let's try that. Hello, Cassidy. Yo. Happy to see you. She's like, that was me. Whoops.
Let me go ahead and share my screen again.
Yeah, let's get you to, because that is too rad. That is one of the coolest things I've seen. I wanna ask you a question about the automations and things, because I just seen some questions about it. Okay, so this is a demo, friends, and I'm gonna drop the link to it here as well, so you can go and look at it.
Will the audio pipe through? Do you think?
I think it should. Yeah.
All right, let's try it.
Is it making a liar out of me? Of course it is. Let me see. Yeah, no, it's not piping through. Well, go to Twitter and look at this demo, because it's absolutely fantastic. We need to figure out how to do this where it doesn't interfere with the mics, though. That's very cool.
Watch the video, you'll notice in the background, it's like, what sections do you want? It's actually calling me to get an answer to this question. And so I was using this to show actually like parallel tool calls where it's like, go seek guidance in like an omni-channel way. And you notice it's all closed, and it's actually got the input by asking me, and it's working through the process again. And so it's just that you might start a job, step away from a computer, and that's really kind of the scenario that's always on my mind. I want to be able to, from my phone, keep the agents working. The jobs have just gotten much longer. And so like right now, we can run jobs for multiple hours even. You don't want to necessarily sit there hand-holding everything. And so the SDK plus the CLI is another nice way to bridge these things and make sure you have a little more flexibility related to where you're at when you're trying to move the agent forward.
I love this. So if I'm on the go and I have kicked off a task and there is questions, instead of waiting for me to be back either in front of my machine or even look up the mobile app, I can just have this. It'll call me and ask me whatever the question is to continue working, and then it's done. That's brilliant.
Exactly. And we are working on, we actually have something today already, which I'm happy to share, because we are planning to share like an early preview of it next week for hobbyists to hack away on while we work on the larger, broader solution. But we are working on that tunneling solution, right? So you can have, the agent running on your machine at home. You can very easily tunnel it to it from your phone, as an example, or another computer. And that really starts kind of the next phase of making sure you can empower whatever computer or compute anywhere with these agentic capabilities, and then continue accessing them without all the other complexity that kind of exists today as well.
Very cool. Okay. Are you going to show us something else? Because I have questions. And I want folks, listen, if you are thinking about experimenting using the Copilot SDK and you have questions, this is your chance. You have Patrick here who can answer them. But what's coming up next? I know you just shared something that you're going to be shipping next week for hobbyists to hack away, but anything else that's coming up interesting? And then there's like over 6,000 stars on the repo already. Like the community is showing up and they're like opening issues and contributing. Like, let's talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah. I mean, I would say there's two pieces, right? Like, one is just the open source side of it. We want to make sure to resolve feedback as quickly as possible. And so far, the team has been fantastic, making sure that we stay on top of issues, pull requests. We love contributions on our side too. We've even brought in developers that specialize more in certain languages, so the SDKs feel a little bit more native to people that prefer things like Python, as an example. We moved quick in the beginning, and we really want to make sure that when you touch a Python SDK, it feels very Pythonic. When you touch a .NET SDK, it feels very much like it was built by a .NET user, et cetera. And so we are really emphasizing on the quality, closing feature gaps, making sure we work iteratively there. And I highly recommend, if you have any requests, put it in the repo. We look at it every morning at about 8:45 if you're curious about the timing when we'll get to it. And we triage it. We make sure we respond, and we're moving forward there. Next week, we're actually going to finalize our GA planning, is our current plans. The reason for that is we snuck a technical preview out there, amplified it, saw some interest. There's been so many great use cases that have come back our way that we want to make sure to unlock everyone's capability with as much comfort as possible. And so some of the things I touched on, but auth is a big category, right? Like the enterprise auth, making sure you can stick it in your platform for multiple customers, making sure that it supports long-lived sessions or very short ephemeral sessions with high quality is really important. Identity providers, everyone has different kind of security concerns and layers that they want to consider. We want to make sure there's enough flexibility in there to support all the models. The other piece is bundling. Right now, the SDK sits over the CLI as well. We did do the job of making sure we updated the CLI license, so you can bundle it, you can share it, you can redistribute it. That gives you a lot of flexibility to package the SDK and the CLI.
Perfect.
But we still need to do a better job. We're worried about like what happens when there's a version mismatch, protocol mismatches. We want to make sure that that's not something that's a burden on developers integrating. There's always, on the internet scenarios where, they're talking to public servers, but then there's also closed network scenarios. We want to make sure it works across that set of diversity too. And then there's just the type of application. So there's a lot of hobbyists out there, which I love, again, because I think the general trend is like help people up level and think about how they think about their workflow, if that kind of makes sense. And then
exactly.
You want to embed it in applications like you normally would. So we have users that are embedding it for their customers. So it's how do you let them sign in with their GitHub identity? How do you let them use their Copilot subscription as part of that? That's one really interesting use case we're after right now. There's big platform plays. So we have really complicated applications where people want to leverage the power of the SDK and the CLI. They want to do it in these really large scale backends. And so I'm excited for some other things that'll drop out from a few other teams, even within the GitHub Microsoft ecosystem, but externally as well. There's some exciting things there too. And then internal tools, I think, is just going to be one of those really big areas. I think AI in general, when it comes to internal tools, one of the things that I'm most excited to see is that they should get a whole lot better, right? Like they usually are not funded very heavily. But today you have an opportunity to make them look better, integrate them more, add agentic capabilities to them. And so I think even like internal tools, which for decades we all think a few different ways about, are going to just get more fun and more reliable and more automated too, which is great. And so our SDK, we want it to live everywhere. We want you all to tell us where it's failing, and we want to get that feedback in and resolved as soon as possible.
I am so excited for this. I saw, it might have been a tweet about somebody that like replaced like 5 or 6 different subscriptions to things that they were paying for apps for. Yep. And like now the barrier to entry for you to like literally just vibe code the app. Yep. And now you have the SDK that you can use. You don't need another subscription. I want us to answer this question. And thank you, Jordan, for being here. Can this SDK only be used with Microsoft products, Patrick?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, it can be embedded in a wide variety of products. Like I said, the SDK is MIT, the CLI can be redistributed. So go wild, and we're going to ship a updated SDK as well that will just enable even more scenarios outside of the Microsoft and GitHub ecosystem too.
So just think about it this way. Whatever you want this friend to show up, whatever you want Copilot to be, you can bring it now using the SDK. I've seen small things, big things. These utilities that you showed us today with the PowerPoint, like in Excel, and then the voice, like those are amazing, fantastic. That might not be what you need it for, but this is the beauty of the SDK, that you can literally embed that anywhere in whatever you're building. Very cool. Okay, what has been one of the things that you've seen out there that's kind of impressed you about? I mean, I've seen like people from my team have built like this kind of personalized educational things to like help them create like even learning tracks for AI. I did a little issue explainer with a summarizer thing to like tender for issues. Like I'm gonna open source that this with friends. So there is like a ton of fun experimentation, which is like, I think like that's the best part of this type of tooling. Have you seen anything out there besides the things that you build yourself that you're like, aha, that's cool?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I was just going back because I'm always looking, especially on X, I'm always telling people, I'm always hyping people up and stuff they're building. And so I was going to grab an example because there is one top of mind that is super fun. He's one of the GitHub stars actually. And people have just kind of run wild with it. And, you know, again, with the OpenClaw hype and everything going on there and people hacking away, you know, they're trying to bring some of that to this side as well. And so there is an exact example of the WhatsApp integration that I wanted to just share the post so that people can see it. Let's see.
That is so cool.
Let's see if I can find this thing real quick.
And listen, and also for all of you who are watching, like show me, please, share on the chat if you've seen any cool Copilot SDK enable applications, whatever you put it, I want to see it. So bring it up. And then I'm going to scroll quickly through the chat to make sure that I'm not missing any. Juan Jose, send the repo and I'll take a look later, okay, for the project that you want to take a look at. Bruce's question about, can we use free models with the SDK? I mean, you use your Copilot subscription, so you use any of the models that are available to you with your Copilot subscription. You don't have to pay extra for this. You don't need to go buy another service. You got the Copilot subscription, you got it.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that we recently changed because it wasn't a part of the free originally, and we did make sure to put the CLI in the free, which means you get the free models as well for the SDK.
Thank you for that, Patrick. I did not know.
We want people hacking away, so you know, part of the fun is kind of advocating to let people explore, and you know, we hope you love it, and we hope you scale and grow with us, and that's part of the fun journey as well.
I love that. Okay. Let me keep scrolling while you're looking for that other message.
I do have it right here, actually.
This is such good news. I did not realize we were now part of free. That's awesome. So listen, you have no excuse to try. Like you can go try this and build with this today.
Let's say here it is. All right. Yeah. So this is one is fun because we've always been basically making it slightly crazier with time. And so when I was looking at his first demos, it was just funny to see like how they started and then, you know, how he keeps adding a bit more. And again, I really just like the WhatsApp interface because obviously WhatsApp can be opened up from your phone and a few other sources too. But it's just fun to see people like build their little communication hub and then use that to tie it out to their local system in a wide variety of ways. I think this will become more and more popular, especially as we deliver better tooling and platform support for these kinds of capabilities, because we're just seeing, you know, so many diverse kind of environments people want to deploy it in. I use these hobbies especially as inspiration for making sure it remains pluggable, portable, and it's not just for like large business systems. It can be used for very personal scenarios as well. So
wait, he's creating videos. He's using Remotion.
Yeah. I actually, it was one of the things I did before the voice one, because I was just, you know, as we do in the tech world, we scroll. And there was a trend at some point in time around that same weekend for Remotion. And so This is actually me doing the Pelican on the bike with Remotion, if you've seen that trend for testing AI's capabilities.
Yeah.
But there is let me just go back a little bit farther. Gosh, yeah, right here. So there's a Remotion skill, which you can add to the CLI. You can actually use with the SDK if you want to, and I did put the command there. But I was really kind of amazed at what I got in 5 minutes. And Yuval actually even shows videos where he takes it even farther as well, which is kind of fun. So there are these skills where like you can do such a wide range of things. I don't think people have fully opened their mind to understanding just how broad the use cases really are. Agents sit in a digital world. These are all digital systems, especially with like the CLI trend and the MCP trend moving forward. There's just, it's kind of crazy what they do sometimes. And I love the stochastic nature of just models in general.
That is such a quality, like little real promo video. Like that is wild, honestly. Yeah. And to do that, like, so the way that you all plug it in, if I understand it correctly, being able to access it from WhatsApp. So he's literally on his phone on WhatsApp, like kicking off this.
Exactly.
Man, I don't need to be in an office ever. Like I'm loving this. I am loving this. Friends that are watching, if you do see something else that has been interesting to you, please share it. Let's talk a little bit about what kind of contributions you want from the community. The first one that we want, and this is not really a contribution, it's a gift to you. Go try it. Yeah. Go try it. Give the team feedback on the same repo as well. There's discussions enabled, I believe. But what other kind of contributions are you looking for? Like, how can folks get involved?
Yeah, I mean, we want to make them just feel best in class, again, for the scenarios. And so all feedback is very good. I mean, we view feedback very much as a gift, especially in this phase. And so, all of the details, we want to make sure the documentation is really high quality. So we started to put automation and systems in place that can guarantee samples run well, guidance is clear. We still have work to do, but we want to make sure that anything we're missing there, any kind of instruction you're looking for, guides that you would want, we really want to invest in that, especially over the coming weeks here. Interested in feature gaps, right? Even between our CLI and our SDK, there's a doc right in our repo that shows the differences between the two. We're always exploring, hey, should we promote this to the SDK? Is the SDK different in certain ways? And we want to think about a slightly alternative implementation there. So all of that feedback is very useful. And more importantly, like, we just want to see. So even if you open up an issue and you're like, here's a video of what we're trying to do in my experience, I would love that kind of feedback too, because I spend time with customers just about every day looking at what they're doing, talking to about it. And it's fun to explore kind of where people's minds are drifting and then map it to what we can do and what's possible today as well.
This is amazing. Okay, friends, go take a look at the repo. The README is very comprehensive. It tells you everything you need to know about OAuth, specifically about billing. I was looking through the discussions and I was going to ask, and I'm like, I wonder how long it's going to take before somebody asks for Rust. And there is already an issue that says, can you please make Rust an officially supported
yes.
language?
Yeah. And if you scroll down the README, you will see the community contributed SDKs, which is good. And the nice thing is some of those have been contributed by GitHub employees as well. And they like to track it, keep it up to date, etc. Our core team focuses on those 4 languages, but we work collaboratively to make sure others can generate SDKs in different languages too. And where we go in the future, I think we're going to decouple a few more things. And so who knows where we'll end up in terms of full SDK support. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't end up with a Rust one as well, given the trends there in the market too.
Yeah, for sure. So there are 4 community contributed, community maintained. They're unofficial, but give them a try. So Clojure, wow, I'm loving this. I love people are cooking for sure. Go by the repo, leave it a star. Patrick, what else can we expect from the SDK team? I feel like y'all doing so much. It feels like this is a couple of weeks old, not even.
It is, yeah, I know. Yeah, it feels like a couple months already, or a little bit longer. But no, I mean, my number one priority is just showing people, hopefully, like people that have watched, leave with a few ideas for themselves on how they want to approach using the SDK. Because the initial question I'm always trying to answer is, aren't these coding agents? And I'm like, no, well, they are, but coding agents are unique in their ability to like wiggle their way out of corners, which means you can apply them to a lot of scenarios. They'll figure it out. And then obviously, like I showed earlier, you can empower them with tools that make it even easier as well. And so I'd love to, again, see as many use cases as possible, get as many issues, feedback, etc. We're here. We're real people. And so when you open up issues, we'll talk to you pretty much within 24 hours. And we'd love to engage with as many customers as we can.
I love that. Fantastic. Okay, so I love it that all of you who are watching are already thinking, what am I going to build with this? And so, for example, Jeans wants to know, can I do some time-based tasks? Like tell me the weather at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
So we don't support scheduled tasks, but technically one thing that I do is I actually do run things on a schedule. I just use the operating system scheduler instead. And so you can actually take it. There's a few different ways you can do it depending on like how you want to see the output, et cetera. But you can either use our Copilot CLI in headless mode or plug the SDK into a custom app that you want and then run things on a schedule too. So a few options there. That whole time base sits on my mind too, because I'm always thinking about proactive agents. If you haven't seen by like the voice call, I want to get to a state where there's like a 9 a.m. update that I get, and then I start my day with it. It's the way that I think about what I need to do. We're moving in that direction, and I think things like Work IQ and other integrations make it possible, but the dream is still coming alive on that front across the industry.
We're so early still, friends. I mean, Patrick, you're invited next year this time, February 6th, 2027.
Sounds wonderful.
It will be it will be your agents talking to my agents on
I was going to say, I might show up in some form, but who knows what that form is going to be.
It won't be us. I'll be calling you. Calling you. Oh, well, this is fantastic. Friends, if you have questions for Patrick, don't hesitate to ask him in the chat. I'm going to plug one more time your X as well, because you are very active there and you're sharing examples of things that you're building yourself, which is fantastic. Solving a lot of my problems. I can't wait to do this for my PowerPoint slides. That's amazing. And then also, friends, if you are building things with the SDK or the CLI, please tag us. Please tag us and let us know. We want to see it. If you're contributing, if your open source projects are thinking of using all of this, please let me know, because we want to make sure that we can support you there. So go ahead and give Patrick a follow on X. Start all the repos. I'm already grabbing the task repo and the other one too. There is a lot of fun things that you can do there to experiment. So I'm looking forward to that. Patrick, this has been fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet today.
No, thank you for having me. It's been a fantastic time. I hope to do it again.
Awesome. So what's up next? We can expect next week. There is a fun little plug for hobbyists to experiment with. I know the CLI team stays cooking. I feel like I blink and there is a new upgrade. There's a new changelog item on them. Anything else coming up that you want to share before we go?
Oh, no. I mean, keep an eye on the CLI team because they're moving quick. We just shipped things like the /fleet command yesterday.
Oh, do tell. Listen, let's take advantage of this time, because I saw that and then I got all my cognitive things rolled up in one, because then I also saw Kyle requesting Yeet. And then I forgot about Fleet because I read that after. Do tell us what Fleet is, please.
Yeah, I mean, inside the CLI, we recently added a /experimental command because there are random ideas that we try out, and we want to make obviously the core product really high quality, but we also want to explore different workflows and different capabilities with the agents. So the idea is when you look, especially on X, you'll see large trends around getting a ton of agents to go rally around a problem to start isolating what areas of work they can do so they can do it together without disrupting each other. And so the idea is to deploy an army of mini agents to do small bits of work, but also have them understand what boundaries they can work within as well. You'll see it a lot with as kind of the next evolution of our sub-agents trends, where it started with everything was in this linear kind of fashion. You'll talk to an agent, it'll do things, but it's just a straight line. Now things get delegated to sub-agents, things get run in parallel. And so /fleet is kind of the next evolution of that. Who knows how far it'll actually go, because there is a cognitive load to deploying all those agents and making sure they do a good job. But it's fun to play with kind of deploying these mini agents, small context windows in each one, and letting them do just a very isolated set of work until that work is complete. And so we're just exploring different behaviors for deploying and running agents.
I'm going to share that quickly because I want folks to see it in case you missed this. And shout out to Evan, man. You're also doing a fantastic job sharing, but check it out. So what you see on screen, obviously, is Copilot, the Copilot CLI. And so I think I need to rewind it if I can, so we can see it from the beginning. But so it's /fleet, and then Patrick, if you can see it better than me, tell me. There we go. So now it's fleet deploy, and so basically you're creating like a chain of workers to go and do the thing that you need.
Yeah. And so if you care about your tokens or your PRUs, there is some cost to these things to run them at that scale. The nice thing is our PRUs are usually prompt based. So there's a lot of things that you'll be able to run tokens, and it won't necessarily impact your subscription. But again, they're exploratory things. Have fun. And I think I saw a post that somebody was running a 24-hour job with them just this morning, and they're like, I don't know when it's going to complete. And that's kind of the chaos that we sit in the AI world. Similar to some of the other things you've seen online where people are running like 1-week jobs, 2-week jobs. Like we're just in this weird time of, does time really lead you to the result faster than placing a bet on doing a bunch of smaller cycles? And I think that's the experimentation that we're really trying to get to the ground truth on.
I mean, I feel like this is a great use of my tokens. So I'm going to play with it. I love that. Yeah. There is a lot of more experiments like this. So please follow these folks on Twitter. Keep an eye on our changelog, because that team is absolutely cooking and landing things as features very quickly, very, very fast. This has been so fun. Yes, there will be a recording. Thank you so much for being here. If you go to our YouTube channel, the link is right there on the bottom of the screen. Subscribe and like the channel, and then you'll never miss the beginning of one of these amazing things. Okay, I think we're good. I'm gonna, Patrick, go back to work so you can bring us some fun things. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Patrick, this has been really fun. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea.
How cool is that? If you have experimented with the Copilot CLI, if you used it, and listen, friends, if you heard me say this for one time, you heard me say it 20 times. Team, use the tool that makes you happy. If you have not used the Copilot CLI in a while, or if you never actually installed it, give it a go. Give it a go now as part of your free. What? It's free. That's insane. So go give it a go. Go experiment. The top models are there that you can experiment and figure out what you want to use it for. And then if you're thinking of bringing the Copilot CLI to power your applications, to power this task tool that Patrick built, where you can actually have the agent talk to you, is wild. There's a lot of stuff out there right now. I know it gets a little bit kind of like whiplashy, but just start and think about what could it do for you? What could it do? Not for you, for the masses, not for you to ship to the App Store. Though we do want you to do those things, but solve your own problem first and go from there. Experiment. This is gonna be so fun. And then we'll catch you next time. I will be back here in a couple of hours, in an hour. With the Rio terminal, which is an open source terminal. So come by and learn about Rio. And if you missed it earlier, we had the folks from Handy Computer, and CJ is amazing. It was a really great demo that he showed us. So thank you so much for joining Open Source Friday and for your support of open source. I'm going to leave you once again with the video because it's so good. Have a good day. Thanks for joining us and your support of open source. Thank you.